Welcome back to the Your Golden Elevation channel. My name is Dr. Osa. I want to wish you a very happy new year, happy 2024. For the last probably 5 going on 6 months, I haven't made any videos and I haven't done a newsletter maybe for about the same amount of time. I kind of dropped off the face of the earth, went MIA on all of you all, so I do apologize, but I'm happy to be back today to send you peace, infinite blessings, and just everything that you're hoping for in 2024. As I explained in my newsletter, 2023 was the most challenging year of my life. And I know that a lot of times people can say that so casually and say, man, this is the hardest time I ever faced, or this, I don't even know how I got in this position, or, those sorts of very extreme statements. But for me, I've been through a lot in my life. Some of y'all on my channel know some of those stories that I've shared in the past or in my newsletters. But truly and sincerely, 2023 was a very challenging and the most challenging year of my life. And that's why I haven't been doing videos and creating content, because it really did take all that I had to get through 2023. And so when I was thinking about, as I, come back to the channel and re-engage with you all, I was thinking about what can I share from my experiences, and also what encouragement and I guess tips or strategies I could share to help you all navigate your own lives, because just from feedback I've received from and conversations with friends, family, colleagues, clients, etc., a lot of what I faced in 2024 is only a picture or a snapshot of what each of us faced, our own individual and unique challenges, but basically kind of unrelenting challenges, burdens, obstacles, barriers that a lot of us continue to confront throughout the year. And so for me, when I thought I was past one thing or one situation or one challenge, another thing happened. And, it was just one thing after another, to the point where it was even like hours after I kind of got a new strategy to face my life challenges, or, overcome obstacles. And then another challenge would come like the next morning. Excuse me. And so it was just one thing after another. And I'm finally at a space where I can kind of verbalize it and provide some, hopefully, encouragement to you all, because I feel like we don't go through challenges or difficult situations to keep quiet about it or to keep it to ourselves. And I know during this challenging time, I relied on a lot of folks who were transparent, who were consistent with their content, and who were really willing to share and not gatekeep, their experiences. And as with any content creator, there is the responsibility or the need to kind of balance the personal information that you share about yourself, because other people may be involved. And also there are just people out there who try to keep tabs on folks, which I don't understand. I don't have time personally, but some folks do have time to keep tabs and piece your life together, and therefore stalk you or try to sabotage you in some way. And I definitely know that my audience, my core audience, is not like that, but you never know who might come across your channel, your videos, your newsletters, and things like that. So it also took me some time just to think through what would be the best approach to this video. So I'm happy that I was able to get on here before the end of January 2024, just to do my first video of the year. And so I just want to thank you all for your patience and for being willing to walk along this journey with me. And I also look forward to, your experiences, if anything you would like to share in the comments, or, emailing me. In the description box, I have ways that you can contact me. So feel free to reach out and, connect one-on-one, because I always love to hear from you all. And this channel is all about your golden elevation. Gold is not created or kind of isolated from all the contaminants without any heat or pressure. And so we are all under some form of heat or pressure, maybe even from last year moving into this year. So I just want to celebrate everyone on this channel or who comes across this video. Because I know that it wasn't by mistake that you found this video, and I really celebrate who you are, what you've overcome, the silent battles that you won, and the difficult things you might still be facing each and every day that you might not be able to talk about. And so I really want to lift that up and celebrate you and give you kudos for all of your hard work. Spiritual work can often be invisible. Inner work can often be unacknowledged and misunderstood by your family, friends, colleagues, etc. So I just want to thank you for all you do, because I feel like collectively as a group, whenever we bring our full, more evolved, more elevated selves to our lives, we're healing the world, healing the planet, and healing a lot of the energy disconnects and all the challenges that we might face individually. So, Michael Jackson has that song about man in the mirror. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. And I really do believe that. And after 2023, it solidified my belief even more. And before I go further, you might notice a new setup than I had in my previous videos. I had so many videos in different environments, but this is actually in Hawaii. I'm split my time between two states, and right now I'm in Hawaii. As I mentioned earlier in 2023 that we bought a house and moved to Hawaii. And this is not my normal setup, and the sound is not my usual quality or what I usually strive for, because I need to get a new mic. So I apologize for the quality of this video, but it will definitely be addressed before my next videos. So with that being said, I'd like to just go into a brief discussion of one of the major challenges that I faced in 2023. And before I do that, I would like to drink some water. And, revisit my notes a bit. So as I mentioned, in 2023, I just had one challenge after the other, and it was almost unreal, and it felt overwhelming to the point where I wasn't sure that I was going to get through the year. I didn't know how and if it was possible. And I really want to emphasize that when people say that, sometimes people shrug their shoulders, especially if someone has made it through the year and you see them on a video or you talk to them on the phone. But we don't know until we face difficult situations how challenging they can feel for that person at that moment. And I never want any of us to trivialize someone's experience because we see that they came out on the other side. We don't really know, even though they might try to tell us what it took for them to journey through that difficult time and make it on the other side. We never really know what it took and how they feel about it. So, when I was younger, I just have to be honest, I used to shoulder shrug when people say like, oh, this was very difficult for me, or I don't know how I was going to make it through. And it wasn't always that, but it was sometimes maybe by the way that they conveyed the message, or just my own personal experience with that particular challenge kind of skewed, skewed my viewpoint or my vantage point about what they were facing. So I do want to acknowledge that, as like sometimes it can be a barrier for us to receive a message in that regard about someone's major challenge. So I want to call that out and just ask us to reflect on what that means and what that kind of creates in terms of our own collective understanding of our evolution and our elevation as a human, a human race, and what we can do to address it. I won't go into that because I need to get through my own story. But as I mentioned, in 2023, I faced a lot of difficulties in my life. And at one point, I resolved one issue, or I spent a lot of time in the evening of one day over the summer, just really doing some analyses and reflection and prayer and trying to think through like, how do I, elevate and just move forward in my life. And I finally reached an understanding of what needed to be done. But the next morning, so there's a time difference of several hours between, my family and who are on the mainland and here in Hawaii. So I was woken up the next morning very early with a phone call telling me that 3 members of my family on my mother's side had passed away. And it took a while for that news to kind of really, for me to really kind of digest it and to understand what the implications of that would be. Because I don't know if you all have ever heard this story or this analogy, but when an elder passes away in certain communities, they almost feel like it is losing a whole library of information and just knowledge and wisdom. And to have 3 elders, find out that 3 elders had passed away in my family all at once, like it was devastating to me and to my family. And there are some other issues that were surrounding those deaths that I'm not able to go into to protect the privacy of my family. But it was a type of grief that I had never faced before. I had faced the death of my father 2 years ago. Almost 2.5 years ago now. I faced the death of a best friend of mine. We were best friends for almost 20 years. But to find out that 3 people are no longer with you at one time is something that I can't even really verbalize, even though I am trying to right now to, convey the challenge that I faced in my life. But it's something that feels like maybe like a more personalized experience of like a mass shooting or something like that, even though that's not how my family died. My family members passed away, but it feels almost like if you were to read in the news and you see all of these profiles of these children at schools or these people at a concert or what have you passing away, and and you kind of resonate with their stories, like, oh, this person was a great teacher. This person was a funny, person who helped everyone in the neighborhood. He helped lift everyone's spirits, or they were a person who we really had a talent in visual art or something. Like, you kind of feel like the more of the heaviness of the loss when you know them, and it's like so many people at once. So I would say like the way that I felt when I found out about mass shootings was probably the closest I've ever gotten to that. And it was just so much to process, because when you think about the lives of, 3 people, and it was just kind of like endless waves of grief, and like thinking about all the things that they accomplished in their lives and the things that they would no longer be here for. And just the devastation, like the ripple effect. And I don't think like personally that I've healed from it, even though it's been several months at this point. And I don't know if it's something that we would like truly heal from and rise completely above, but it definitely like shook me to my core in a way that I've never experienced. And then from there, I just had other challenges on top of that. But it came at an inopportune time, and not saying that I can schedule when I get bad news, but there was a lot of things that we were working on in our businesses at the time that I had to turn over to other staff members or like postpone. And even though I took notes about what I wanted to say, I really can't really even convey, like even like when I think about how to express the sadness and the grief to you all in a transparent way. I don't feel like there's enough words to do it, and I'm trying my best to draw analogies or to create more descriptives so that you all can understand my experience, but I don't think I can really show you. If I could open up my heart, like kind of do like um, a safe and virtual surgery on camera and cut my chest open and then show you my heart. And if there was a way for you to see how that information was processed through my heart, then I think that would be like the best way that I could show you rather than telling you, because I don't think I can really tell you. I think this is a situation in life, and probably you all have experienced it as well, that there are often no words for this type of experience. And even when I did tell other people, they said, they intended to be helpful, but it felt really insensitive to get, condolences that said, "Oh, I can't imagine that happening to me," or I know it's so sad what happened. I could never imagine myself in that situation. And those types of things that you probably have, each of you or some segment of you have heard that from other folks in past experiences when you've had a loss. But it felt really insensitive and almost like, that my experience was turning into a spectacle for other people's consumption. And I know that wasn't the intent, but it was almost like if a mass shooting is kind of being replayed on the news, or like you see it and then like people keep talking about it, like, man, I can't imagine that happening to my family or whatever. And I think not that you want to be able to imagine it, but it's helpful to refrain, I think, from using that language, because I'm struggling to find the word of like how I felt, but I would say it made me feel more like an outcast, or like someone who's like has exceptional difficulty that, of course, no one ever wants to experience that, but it almost turned into a circus of condolences. That's kind of what I would say. And so that piece was challenging on top of the grief that I already experienced. And some people who I didn't expect that kind of language and perception from did convey that kind of energy to me, and it wasn't really helpful at all. And at a certain point, I just stopped telling people what I was just saying. I'm having a challenging time, versus going into the 3 deaths in my family, because I didn't want to be put on created into another spectacle, or that situation created into another spectacle. So that's just like my experience, and how it affected me over those several months, and it still affected me now. And I think it's important to acknowledge that throughout history, there is a theme, though, that oftentimes when you face huge challenges, it's a reason behind it, whether you have great losses or great challenges or great goals that you continue to encounter barriers or obstacles with. That is an indicator oftentimes throughout history that you have a great calling on your life. But for the person who's going through those obstacles and they're going through those challenges, they don't want to hear that. I know I didn't want to hear it or be reminded of it, even if it was supposed to be a word of encouragement, because it feels like, oh, am I not human now? I'm supposed to show up as a superhero. I'm supposed to look at the bottom of my closet and find my cape and, dust it off and put it on, But, I bring humor to things a lot. So that's why I'm kind of laughing through this. It's not really anything so funny about it, but that's just how I am as a person. I think that's a coping mechanism. And so as I was reflecting on that experience, I decided to share that. And there was like dozens, or maybe even, I wouldn't say hundreds, because that's kind of exaggerating in terms of hundreds of challenges, but it definitely was dozens for me throughout 2023. And I was thinking about what can I share that's most relatable, that, gives me, some privacy protections, and my family some privacy protections, but also that would help encourage and provide some additional kind of support during this time. Because in the world now, there's so many wars and battles that we can see in Gaza, in Ukraine and Russia, that's still ongoing. And we know that other countries are getting involved. Hopefully I don't get censored by talking about this. Some folks have been shadow banned that I've heard, like people I follow, because they're talking transparently about how they feel about the state of the world. But there have been so many global national challenges when it relates to geopolitical conflicts, the economy, and then those sort of macro or large scale challenges show up in our lives in, more micro ways, whether it affects our emotional well-being, our spiritual sense of spiritual or personal security, or it might just affect, trickle down effects of the economics and inflation. Is still ongoing with the cost of food and so many other challenges that we continue to face as human beings. And so it is a challenging time in the world and continues to be. And I think that we need to reclaim our personal power in order to navigate these situations. And that's why next week I will be having a Power Week, what I'm calling Power Week. Every day, starting February 5th, 2024, there will be a video on a variety of topics that relate to power, such as perseverance, perception, can't remember the rest. Let me look at my notes. Purpose, passion, prosperity, and others. And so there's 7 total topics, and the 7th topic will be power. And my goal is to connect all these topics as best as I can to show how they create our overall sense of personal power and help us to reclaim it. Because I think one of the things that I found about myself facing these challenges is that I ended up feeling like I lost my power, or actually gave away unintentionally or planned my power in different situations. And so I think it's important now more than ever that we reclaim our power so that we can fully show up in the ways that we need to, so that we can fulfill our purpose on earth, so that we can help other people fulfill their purposes, and so that we can collectively bring healing to ourselves first and foremost, but then to if you think about the concentric circles going out from there to your family and to your community, and then to your region, to your nation, etc., to the world, to the universe, and beyond. And so when I was thinking about some topics that I wanted to focus on in terms of, strategies that helped me navigate this situation, the first strategy that I used was acceptance. So I really had to fight the desire to suppress my emotions about the losses in my family, and to, fight the urge. I had an urge. I mean, I'm just the type of person where I just want to still move forward with my plans, and I don't want things to get in the way. But I just had to accept that this is where I am now, with grief, with, just coordination with, funeral related things, and just processing everything. And I just had to accept that this is going to be a challenging at least few months, and not to, delude myself into thinking that, oh, everything is fine and I can just keep doing things at my normal level of productivity or level of engagement, because it was not possible. So I think whatever situation you're facing, accepting it, and acceptance looks differently. You may have to have moments with yourself, as I did each week or even throughout the day, to say, where am I now? What's possible for me to do or not do? What do I need to renegotiate in my life to make space for where I am now in this challenging time? And what changes might I need to make regarding expectations of myself in this particular time? The second one is counting the good. So I think with any challenging situation, we can feel like, man, I don't know how this situation might, how I can overcome this situation, but I'm going to count the good. What is this experience? What has this experience taught me? How can I reflect on the positives. And in this case, I just reflected on the positive things my family members brought into my life, how they created pathways for me to be who I am today, even if it wasn't a direct pathway or like they didn't literally like pass me the baton in any area of their lives, but just their existence and their determination to live and to make an impact in whatever way that they did is a positive influence on my life. And, just reflecting on what legacy they leave behind and how I can carry on that legacy in different ways helped me to navigate that difficult experience. This video is getting very long, and I'm going to try to wrap it up because I don't know why, but every time I do a video, I do notes. I try to keep it to the point, but things just come through that I guess need to be said. So apologies for the length of this video. The third point is patience, which kind of goes alongside acceptance, like being patient with yourself and knowing that there's something else on the other side of this. Even if you can't see it, there's something positive, there's something that's going to benefit you, that's going to benefit your community, your family, the world in some way. It really helped me because I can be an impatient person with myself or just with different difficulties. Like I want to find a solution as soon as possible and be able to put it into practice or implement it, but it's not always possible. So being patient and really tuning in, praying, centering yourself, meditating is really important as part of the process of cultivating and practicing patience because it helps you to navigate all of those ups and downs that come along with challenges. And then the final one is remembering your power, remembering that even if you feel powerless right now, if you don't have what you consider to be all the resources, whether they are emotional resources, spiritual resources, financial resources, human resources, whatever you may need to rise above this experience, that you do have power. And your power is defined in many different ways. And we often give away our power unknowingly or unintentionally by thinking that we don't have power. So as I mentioned earlier in this video, next week is all about Power Week, where we'll talk about purpose, passion, perception, perseverance, prosperity, and other topics that relate to how you can actualize your power in a more intentional way. No matter what challenge you're facing, I believe that you can come out of it and you can come out of it stronger, and not only stronger, but wiser. And you can, there are various ways that you can profit, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually from those challenges so that you're even stronger. You can have a greater impact in the world, and you are fortified for any spiritual, emotional, financial, etc. battles that you might face in the future. So with that being said, this video is probably almost 30 minutes long, and I want to wrap it up. But I hope that you all found some helpful information in this conversation, even though it was only me talking, but hopefully you were at least responding internally to yourself or to me during this video. And as I mentioned before, I would love to hear from you in the comments below this video or even by email about anything that resonated with you, anything that you would like me to talk about in the Power Week week ahead, which again is starting February 5th, which is next Monday, and it will be every single day for 7 days, Monday through Sunday, a video that you can expect every day talking about power, how to reclaim it, and other associated topics. So thank you so much for, again, your patience and for staying subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate all of my golden souls, as I call you all. So as I usually end my videos, stay elevated, stay golden, and I'll see you in the next one.